Welcome back. For a lot of people who watch my content or they've been following me, a lot of people forgot that this is where we all started. When I was already doing content before Charlie Kirk, before the Charlie Kirk incident, but it wasn't at the rate that I do it now. Because I knew at that time I was going to need to step up and be another voice in a vacuum. We have a lot of people that are exiting the internet, whether it's from assassination attempts or blackmail, or they're dying from the vaccine. There's a lot of openings, and Charlie Kirk was an important voice that we need more people that are going to talk to the public and have these uncomfortable conversations and challenge this liberal gay ideology. So I'm here. I don't know if you guys remember that when this all first began, I told you that there was no case against Tyler Robinson. He would be exonerated. And I asked you at the time, what are you going to say then? Because just like with Cesar Chavez, everybody at the time was just repeating each other, but no one was showing me any concrete evidence. They showed me a guy running on half of a roof, but it's a camera that had a full video of the entire roof. So why couldn't you show me the video of him taking the shot? Then they showed him jumping off of a roof, but he's not holding a weapon. But they're pretending that he used a long rifle with a 30-06 bullet. Then they were saying all these weird things like Charlie's neck could stop the bullet because he had bones made out of the same material that Wolverine's bones were made out of. It was all this weird stuff being said. And then the Mossad trained security detail that no one was shocked by him being hit, and no one even took off their shades. Their dark shades, no one took them off to get a better look at the wound so they could figure out how to treat it so that they could extend his life and make it so he can get medical care. No one cared. When it came to Tyler Robinson, they were trying to convince you that he had a gay boyfriend who was a furry. But see, I was able to find videos of Tyler Robinson. He's heavily autistic. These situations, you're trying to pretend that this guy was a shooter. These are complicated things. Tyler Robinson is a very simple boy. He doesn't have the mental capacity, which is what I was telling you back then. And then I remember when people like Tim Pool and Brandon Tatum had a lot to say about Candace Owens, who was making also a similar case that was exonerating Tyler Robinson because, well, there was no proof that he had anything to do with anything. His parents even brought him to the police station. Magically, the video of him going into the police station is missing, and the interrogation. All of it's gone. Because all of it was fake. All of it was a distraction, a cover-up for something else. Everyone wanted to defend Erica Kirk, the security team, TPUSA. And now everyone, even people like Tim Pool, have egg on their freaking faces. Pathetic, liars, trash. Somebody can pay you to say anything. There's no way these people can be so freaking smart about everything else. Yet when it comes to this topic, because people was mentioning Israel being involved, now they just turn full, just drool, all of a sudden, smart as a whip. And don't get me wrong, Charlie Kirk was guilty of that for a long period of time. I used to ask myself, how can I agree with so much that some man says, but then I'm completely counter him on everything he says about Israel? If he could just stop promoting Israel, the same freaking argument I have for Trump. If Trump could just decouple and drop all that Israel trash, he'd be the greatest president in history. America could be great right now. America was there. Inflation was down. Rents are down. Deportations are up. Crime down. And then because Israel tells him to burn himself at the stake, he throws us into a battle that we can't have. We didn't have a snowball's chance in hell against Iran to begin with, because we don't even know what Iran can do. But Iran knows everything about what we can do and everything about us. So do the Chinese, so do the Russians. We brag and boast about how powerful we are. I've never seen them brag or boast about how strong they are, because when you're actually strong, you don't have to tell anybody. When you're a real fighter, if you're actually a good fighter, you do whatever you can to try not to get into fights because you don't want to hurt someone. I have a little experience with this. So now I'm watching all this new evidence. This means there is no case. There was no physical evidence of Tyler Robinson doing anything. There's nobody that's seen him take the shot. There's no footage of him taking the shot. There's no way to even place him there. It was all circumstantial at best. Remember, Kash Patel and the FBI, it's not like they were just doing investigations and they tracked him down and they were hunting him. Or the dude's dad was like, oh, I think they're going to try to accuse my son. Let's just take him up there to the station. Literally turned himself in. There was no successful manhunt. Nothing. Patsy. It's not the thing. The things have changed since the Kennedy assassination. We have the internet. You have people like me that can get on here and have conversations with the public ad nauseum, because remember, I don't know how many videos I've done about this topic. I try not to talk about it so much because it's so diluted and there's so much other news to get into. But we're going to start off with this report. This investigation is done. There is no more case. Tyler Robinson never did it in the first place. Whatever hit Charlie came from underneath the front of his shirt, which is why his shirt jerked up. What device was underneath his shirt that planted whatever they found in his neck? If they found something in his neck, I'll be honest. At times, I think he's still alive, because I question if the people in the crowd seen what we saw. The people in the crowd were giving gag orders. I saw a video with blood coming out of his neck. The people in the crowd, they didn't see that. So if the video was altered that the public was shown, what did the people in the crowd see? And why would they need gag orders? Why? Did the device underneath them shock them? And then they just put them down and drug them away, and they just added the special effects after? Because the man who went and took the SD cards out that worked for TBSJ, he went and stood on a chair. It's hard for me to imagine somebody standing on a bloody chair where his friend was just shot and then grabbing and then where was the blood on the backdrop or the concrete? I have questions. I have problems with this, all of it. But I'm closer to the truth because I've been consistent. No one can talk me in or out of anything. I'm not gullible. I listen to people, and then I saw Candace Owens making the same points that I was making, and everyone wants to attack her character and her past. No one wants to talk about the exact topic or stay focused on what's happening now. So that's why this is such an important development and deal. Let's take a listen, everyone.
We're following new developments in the case of Charlie Kirk's alleged assassin. Now, remember, Tyler Robinson is accused of killing the right-wing activist at a campus event last September. But now his lawyers claim the fatal bullet may not match the gun allegedly used in the crime. Carter Evans has that story.
It's been nearly 7 months since conservative political activist Charlie Kirk was shot and killed during a Utah Valley University campus event on September 10th last year. Now, attorneys for Tyler Robinson, the man charged in Kirk's killing, are asking to delay his preliminary hearing to review a mountain of material they say could help his defense.
I'll be honest with you, this is a case where help with what? There's no evidence he did anything. None. He's not even confessing to it. The kid is extremely autistic. He had to read his introduction letter when he received it. He does not fully understand what he was receiving. His mother had to explain it to him. And I can't even find those videos anymore. You can't find them in the public space anymore. They wiped them. They don't want you to know the kid is heavily autistic. He's not a regular, normal. You can't find, he's 20 something years old. You can find every kid on earth, pretty much every American kid on the internet talking about nonsense with their friends or whatever. There's no videos of him speaking because you would see that he has an impediment. He's not a fully functioning mentally. Mentally, he's more so 13 rather than 23. If that makes sense. And that's kind of what autism does. It's a delayed development. That's why they say you grow out of it. You know, when you're in your 30s, now you're in your 20s, you're still an adult, you can function on your own, whatever. That's the case with Tyler Robinson. He was never all the way there. For them to convince me that he decided to save his boyfriend who's a furry because he didn't like Charlie, so they sent it was all a bunch of speculative, imaginary, sci-fi wizardry BS nonsense from the beginning. They can show you half the roof. They didn't show you the other part when it was a camera that had full spectrum of the roof. No one seen him up there, crouching down on a perch. There was security. It was all fake. Whatever hit Charlie came from underneath his shirt. There was something underneath the front of his shirt. I went over those videos and ad nauseum. I'll recap it and go over it again in slow motion at the end of this video. Do me a favor. If you want to hear more about this content, if you're watching this, come over to the YouTube channel. It's Rico Limbaugh. We're on 8 different platforms right now. Rico Limbaugh on YouTube. Like the channel. Subscribe to the channel, like the video, stay up to date. I'm going to be talking. I'm vindicated now. Do you know how many people call me a right-wing conspiracy theorist because I asked questions and I looked at evidence and I wasn't emotional just letting what Mark Levin or some other asshole on Fox News tell me what to think? We're past that. I was correct. I was right about this in the first place. There wasn't no 30-06 bullets. He wasn't shot by a rifle. He wasn't shot by that goddamn rifle at all. So please come over. We're going to keep presenting this evidence. We're going to be talking about this all day long. So please subscribe to the channel, like the video. Let's get back to the story.
In a new court filing, the defense claims in an ATF report summary that the agency, quote, was unable to identify the bullet recovered at autopsy to the rifle allegedly tied to Mr. Robinson.
Doesn't mean that those bullets aren't the same or that they aren't connected. It just means there isn't enough evidence there to come to a conclusion.
CBS News legal contributor Jessica Levinson says this is not unusual.
It is sometimes difficult to match bullets that were recovered at autopsy with bullets that are associated with a defendant's gun.
If that's the case, then how do you have ballistics, you dumb... Bro, listen, don't listen to these people. These people will get on television and lie to you. That's what they're paid to do. We have something called ballistics for a reason. It's good enough to use in courts when it comes to convicting people, but it's also good enough for using exoneration. What they want to do is just delay your outrage by putting doubt in your mind that this is actually what's happening. But it is. It is. He wasn't shot by a 30-06 bullet. He doesn't have the same bones that Wolverine's bones are made out of. He's not a man made of adamantium. He was just a guy. Erica Kirk was so quick to say, I forgive him. Forgive him for what? For what? For what? What did you forgive him for? For nothing. Maybe he should forgive you for wasting his time. There is no connection at all. Why did she not know this? Why was Erica not more curious about the case involving who shot her husband? Why didn't she have more questions? Why doesn't anybody at TPUSA have more questions? Why didn't his security guards even take off their shades to get a better look at the wound? Why did the other guy from TPUSA who made the little video back behind the scene when he ran away, why did he keep his shades on too? Why was everybody from TPUSA when Charlie was killed, why did everybody just care about looking so cool instead of Charlie? Out of the entire staff at Utah Valley that day that was there for TPUSA, the only one that wasn't wearing dark shades was Kirk. Go watch the videos. All the guys who were working on the side, not just the security, everybody there, all wearing dark shades. It's kind of like they were all wearing something that you knew they were all together, like kind of wearing a patch on your arm. None of them, not once, removed their shades the entire time. It's so weird. And they were so quick to try to say, oh yeah, Tyler did it. I forgive him. Let's move on. And now you find out that, well, Candace was right. Rico Limbaugh was right. Mr. Let Go, and Jesse on Fire. A lot. We all stayed the course because Charlie was important to us. Did I know him personally? No. I came to Arizona, right when this happened. I was in Arizona for about 2 months. TPUSA's headquarters was 15 minutes from my house over by Arizona Mills. I live in Scottsdale. I was planning on going over there and seeing if I could just volunteer to go to some of these campuses and have these conversations. That's what I want. I feel like, okay, I can go do that. I seen Brandon Tatum doing it. That guy's not the sharpest tool in the shed. I'm like, well, I could definitely have a better conversation, or at least just contribute. It's not even about comparing me to other people. Before I could even make it over there, September 12th, I'm sitting down having lunch, and I find out he was apparently shot. What he was doing meant a lot to people like me, people who want to have these conversations, people who want our country to resemble the one that we grew up in the future. I want it to be the same for my children. I'm an American. I want my kids to be American. If we can maintain and keep America for Americans. So yes, it's important to us. We stayed the course, but everybody else just gave up and went along with the propaganda and the BS. And now everyone is looking dumbfounded and have egg on their face, and they look like morons. So what is Tim going to say? What is Brandon Tatum going to say now that all their bashing Candace Owens for saying Tyler Robinson had nothing to do with it? Now, what do they say? How do they pivot? How much money is it going to take for them to come up with a new excuse? That's the question that we have to ask. You don't have to ask that question from me. My conversation is consistent. Unbelievable.
And that could be based on lack of evidence and lack of markings on those bullets.
Robinson has been charged with aggravated murder.
I thought they said the markings had I thought they said the bullets had markings on them etched in. Someone used a some kind of etching thing to write messages. So you telling me the autistic gay kid, Tyler Robinson, was engraving bullets? Does he have his own smelting machine at home in his garage? Go gadget engraver. Let me go ahead. He took you would have had to take those bullets to someone to be engraved. And who did the engravings and they didn't think that was kind of suspicious that I'm engraving some bullets? Where are they going to use them? None of it added up if you asked any questions. I'm asking questions. Who's going to stop me from asking? So that's where my issues with all of this comes in. This is just amazing.
In Kirk's death, he has not yet entered a plea. Prosecutors intend to seek the death penalty.
And if you look at his face, you can tell he's autistic. He doesn't has really no clue what's going on. He doesn't even really talk. He's not a big talker. He's not there all the way. It's kind of like a void. Like Rampage Jackson's son. They're in the same age group, and they're afflicted with that same thing. A lot of young men are in our country, unfortunately, and it's due to vaccine injury. But that's where that whole, okay, you're not autistic, you're trans. You're not autistic, you're actually gay. That's why you're socially awkward. And it worked because he thought he was gay, even had a boyfriend, because they convinced him that was what was wrong with him. You're not autistic, maybe you're just gay or trans. That's why you're socially awkward.
Robinson hid the gun and told his roommate to delete incriminating text messages.
Prosecutors.
Zero proof that ever happened. Zero proof he ever did any of that. Zero proof that he told someone to delete anything. They have no evidence of that. And then they're trying to convince you that this is Tyler Robinson wearing completely different clothes than he was wearing, an hour later when he went to go get food. And he wouldn't have been able to make it there. And then where's the gun? All of this we knew all this on day 1. Day 2, I had all this. Day 3, I'm doing videos about this. Doing videos about it for weeks. And people were noticing, okay, there are some consistencies, but Rico, the news said this. But Rico, Don Lemon said this. But Rico, CNN, to hell with them. Talk to us. We don't have a financial incentive. We're doing this because we care. And we're just reviewing the evidence. We don't have a dog in the fight either way. We just want to get to the truth. All of this we knew on day 3. And now you're finding out 6 months later, March, almost 6 months to the day. Ridiculous.
Alleged Robinson admitted to killing Kirk in those text exchanges.
Roommate, you weren't the one who did it, right? Robinson, I am. I'm sorry.
Prosecutors also
Carefully curated text messages from a kid who has no idea where he is. This is so funny. And they expected us, the public, to just eat it up. The problem is you would have to make sure everyone in the equation is corrupt. There was not supposed to be someone that come out and say, oh yeah, the ballistics don't match. Now, all the BS and lying you've been doing all this time, well, it's for nothing. It's for nothing. And the hornet's nest is back kicked again. The truth will set us free. Netanyahu and all these people that had all these interests in making sure Charlie was removed. That's why they were all acting so weird coming out. Oh, we had nothing to do with it. Why? Who said you did? Why are you being so guilty and suspicious? And we're going to find out what happened. But the problem is you're not going to like what you find. I can tell you that much. I didn't like what I found. You're not going to like it either.
They have DNA evidence that connects Robinson to the killing. Levinson says the inability to conclusively match the bullet won't necessarily damage the prosecution's case.
The prosecution has other evidence to rely on. This does.
No, they don't. Or we would have had the evidence. That was it. That was it. The gun. They were focused on the gun. There's no DNA anywhere else. There's nothing. Actually, they found 7 different men's DNA on the same gun, apparently. There was nothing else. Everything else circumstantial. They don't even have the video of him turning himself in. This whole case was a shit show. It was amateur hour from the beginning because it's fake. Everything around us is fake and gay. You have to know better, keep your wits, and stop letting people on these news channels influence you. How many years does it take for you to figure out that they are lying about everything? If they weren't lying, people like me wouldn't exist. We wouldn't even have to come on here and make content and clear up the misinformation. I even hate using that word, but clear up all the misunderstandings and lies that are given to you on television. I can't even watch these channels anymore. I can't even, because I understand these people are all being paid. I used to love Alex Jones. I felt like he saved millions of people. Him and David Icke together saved 1 billion people or more from those vaccines. Tim Pool was a guiding light when people were trying to figure out if they were going to vote for Trump or not back in 2020, 2024. And to watch the greats who we've all been following all this time, watch them start to drool when it comes to Israel, the same way they have that mind virus when they're smart about everything else, the same issue Charlie Kirk had temporarily, and then he got over it. You can't trust them either. So there needs to be new sources. So that's where people like myself, we come, we tap in, we throw our hat in the ring, and we hope that people will talk to us. I'm not telling you what to believe. I'm not talking at you. I want to talk with you. I'll give you an example. Let's go ahead and go through the comments. Yeah, must be a mind reader and a forensic scientist to make comments on stuff that you're assuming. Yeah, I agree. They assumed everything, which is why they believed that the ballistics were there when they were not. But this was foolish from the beginning. There was never any evidence. I can speak on this because I've been going over all of the evidence that was given since day one. I've been consistent. If I didn't listen, when Charlie Kirk died, I didn't even know how to make thumbnails. I was paying some Indian dude in Pakistan to make me thumbnails for $10 a piece. Didn't even know how to do it. I had to learn on the fly because I had to keep making content about this particular topic. This subject means a lot to me because if it can happen to Charlie and get covered up, then who's next? That's my issue. No police work. They're not even looking for another suspect. They're focused on this guy when there was no evidence against him. So you know that, like I said back then, we're going to waste 6 months in the wrong direction and then have to start over from scratch when Tyler Robinson is exonerated and cleared, which he will be. This shouldn't have even, it only went to trial to delay this. This should have never even went this far. That's the issue. Yeah. Yeah, guns do kill people, but this wasn't a gun that shot Charlie Kirk. Because, okay, I'll give you an example. Charlie Kirk shirt, slow mo. Let's go ahead and figure this out. So this is let's see here. Watch his sleeve. Well, this is no. Right here. You're not going to see anything graphic. We're going to just show the slow motion part of his shirt.
You're seeing there.
Okay, guys.
There's a place to be there.
Explain to me how. Somebody tell me how there's a okay. This is before the shot. Do you see that little red spot above his freedom to the left?
Right here.
Right shoulder, his right shoulder, right below, right above his right pectoral muscle. Watch that speck turn into a bullet hole, but it moves.
Now look at his shirt. The shirt is up. The word freedom has an arch. Why, if somebody is shooting you from the side in your neck, why is your effing shirt popping up in front of your face where the word freedom is arched? Explain that to me. If he was shot from a sniper rifle, why is the front of his shirt popping up where it's literally up at his nose? His shirt, the midsection of his shirt is up, elevated past his nose. Why is that if he was shot in the neck? Since when does a bullet from one direction cause your shirt to go up in front of you? And then you're sitting, and then there's people in the comments that are saying, "Oh, but well, are you not able to think for yourself? Are all you people bots? Is everybody an Israeli bot?" The ones that are, I mean, well, there's probably less bots now because Iran is putting belt to ass, but can no one think for themselves? These are the questions we have been asking from day one. What the hell was under his shirt? Because a bullet from the side is not going to cause the front of your shirt to pop up in front of you. And it never has, it never will. And no one wants to talk about that. And then the camera that said they seen him jump off the roof, it was a camera with a full 360 vantage point of the entire roof. It can see everything, but they cut off the other part of the ceiling so you can't see where he was running from. Why would they do that? Why not just show us the whole video? Jesus Christ. I'm like, think for yourselves. And that's the thing. I'm talking with you. I'm not telling you what to believe. I'm telling you to think for yourself. Use that brain. Okay, it's an exercise. Think for yourself. You and I should be able to come to the same conclusion. But ask yourself this. Why is the front of his shirt in front of his face when he shot? If he shot, what was underneath his shirt to cause it to go up past his nose? These are the questions we asked from day one. Everything else was a distraction so that you wouldn't notice this. I'm playing it for you in slow-mo. Froze it for you right here. Look. You don't got to argue with me. Argue with the evidence. The ballistics don't match. Whatever hit Charlie didn't come from a rifle 200 yards away from a ceiling from a guy some guy banging some twink named Tyler Robinson. There was something under the man's shirt from day one. We've all watched it. Why haven't you? Because you don't subscribe to my channel. You're in the dark. It's your first time here. You're new, it says. Okay. I'm going to give you grace. You don't know any better. But there are those of you who only follow me because this is where I started. And you've humored the conversation. I appreciate you for being here. Listen, like the video, subscribe to the channel, stay up to date with me. The man's shirt should not be in front of his face. Slow-mo the video of it happening. I know nobody wants to watch it, but do it. Slow-mo it. His shirt jumps up past. What the hell was under his shirt to cause it to go up like that? Those are the questions you have to ask. The problem is you're not going to like the answer, because that means that everything you thought that you knew about Erica Kirk and all the nasty things you might have mumbled about Candace Owens, well, now you have to eat shit. You have to eat your own feces. You have it on your face. You're ridiculous. You should have looked at all the evidence. Everybody should. The fact that people did not want to question things makes me sick. How often have we been lied to and you don't want to question anything? Who the hell are you? Who the hell are you to say, oh, well, I'm not going to question anything. I just trust the TV. Don't you remember with Fauci? When Fauci never came to your house, he told you on TV there was a deadly virus going around in the air, put on 35 masks. Then you find out 3 years later, actually, it never existed. And now Fauci disappeared. It wasn't him that told you, it was the television. The TV lies to you. The TV told you Tyler Robinson shot Charlie Kirk, never showed you the evidence, never was able to prove you, and never explained what the hell's going on with the man's shirt. I'm sitting here talking to you like an adult, which you are, and you resent me. Last I heard, Kirk didn't have a body microphone. He did. There was actually, when they were miking him up, they put a device under his shirt that he likely thought was a backup microphone. We don't know what that device was, but we know that people hide weapons in devices like that. The thing is, his body's reaction was like he was not shot, but shocked, like he was hit with a taser. It even sounds like a clap when the shot, they says it's a shot, but it was a clap noise. It wasn't a pow. It was a clap, like he was hit with a taser. Then it's like his body seizes up. We saw on video fluid. In the audience, the people said they didn't see fluid. That's why there was nothing. That's why the ground wasn't covered. The white backdrop wasn't covered, and neither was the chair, because the guy stood on the chair to get the SD cards out of the cameras and didn't take the cameras. I'm talking to you about the actual evidence and the facts of what happened. Stop projecting and making up extra stuff. That's not the way it went. This is all we've all studied. This is where it all began for a lot of us. Let's talk about it. Fauci went door to door, but he didn't go to your house. He didn't go to your neighborhood. He was in Baltimore. The vaccine was made for Black people, and it was designed for Black people. It's safe for everybody else except for them, which is why you see so many of them dying. It was designed by Epstein and Bill Gates. You just said they went to poor neighborhoods. Epstein and Bill Gates and the Epstein files said, hey, how do we get rid of these poor people? What they did was they found a common trait amongst the people that was their target demographic, because Blacks are actually mixed with a lot of other different things. You can't make a genetically modified race-based weapon. You just have to target certain characteristics. When it comes to Black people, you just had to make something that would have a reaction to testosterone. So it's a testosterone reactive agent, which is why so many athletes, bodybuilders, and Blacks in general, since they have due to pigmentation, most elevated testosterone levels out of all humans. If you stripped all the humans' skin from all over the world, you would tell them apart by their testosterone levels. But that's what's going on with the whole Fauci situation. But he's underground. He's gone. You don't see Fauci anymore, but you saw him every day a few years ago. That should tell you that there's the TV. When they told you years ago the TV will melt your brain and rot your brain, they were telling you the truth. Turn it off. A lot of people do turn it off. I have an audience because people turned it off. Okay? We're going to bring you into the light because, well, you being in the dark costs me everything. I need you into the light. That's why we're here. Yeah, they're dropping like flies, all of them, everybody. I lost 4 friends last week back in California. They're all, because remember, in California, we were giving it first. We were actually giving it, they started giving out the vaccine in California in November of 2020. So we're just a little bit, we're ahead of the rest of the country, but not by far. Eventually you guys will catch up. It's just that there's certain things that are in place in California, which we're going to see the death higher in California due to the environment that was created. I've been all over the country. The skyline in Los Angeles doesn't look like the skyline in any other major city. Also, the cloud seeding, apparently it works best in the dark. That's how you get everybody to die. That's why Biden banned incandescent light bulbs, and the only ones you could buy was LED. Trump reversed it because now you have RFK Jr. They're all trying to reverse the damage, so Trump's not blamed for it with what is it called? Warp speed. They're going to try to say warp speed. Trump knew that this was a black depopulation thing. He's a racist, Nazi. They're going to use all that nonsense. That's why I tell people begging for the Epstein files to come out, it's pointless because the Epstein files are the vaccine files. They're one and the same. And there's other stuff in there as well. You know, the whole genetic algorithms and the looking glass technology. I mean, he talked about that on Steve Bannon, and yeah, that the evidence is in the Epstein files, and it's really that's really going to be hard for people to understand and accept. So we need time. That's why it was unhealthy, and that's why they stopped releasing the files, and that's why people say we went to war in Iran was so that you would stop begging for the release of them. The point is, it's all connected. People like Kirk were talking about not getting us into this war with Iran because this is all a part of a greater agenda to basically continue killing off people. There were too many people that didn't take the shot, so they're going to need war and other things to try to reduce life. That's the globalist agenda. So you got to choose. The Zionist agenda is to push the gay stuff. That depopulates you over time. The globalist agenda is to depopulate you immediately. It's kind of like it's a lose-lose for an American either way it goes. Why would you think you hurt me? I wouldn't. Tammy, no. I'm in California and I lost family. I've lost 6 family members, all men. Again, it's testosterone reactive. Estrogen slows down the effects, but it doesn't stop it. However, if you're a darker skinned woman, you have elevated testosterone levels naturally, and it'll the effects, or you're not going to be able to dodge it. It's going to take you out before anybody else. Other people, it's sterilizing them, but it's not killing them the way it's killing blacks because it wasn't designed to kill anyone except the blacks. Remember, they've been researched. The kid keeps talking about the kids on Epstein Island that was for sex. No one wants to talk about the ones that were brought there after the earthquakes in Haiti and the ones that were trafficked from the Virgin Islands, like the ones that were making deals with Peter Nygaard and his family and those aborted children. They're not always thrown into a waste bin. What do you think they do with those kids? They're not all just thrown into a blender and obliterated. Sometimes they keep them and they grow them and they use them for experiments. That's what they did on Epstein Island. That's how they were able to develop such an highly effective vaccine. And that's why you see LeBron James' son in the NBA. He was one of the first fatalities, but they brought him back to life. Remember, he had 3 heart attacks at the same time. And to not speak out against the vax, they made a deal with the devil. That's how he was able to get into the NBA. He dropped down to the D League. LeBron reminded him of their deal. They brought him back to the NBA the other day. It's all connected because if LeBron speaks out, then his people are going to be who were the target demographic would have been hesitant. They were already vaccine hesitant to begin with. That's why they got rid of Wendy Williams and they got certain people. You couldn't speak out against it if you had a platform. You had to go with it because, well, their group has been marked for extinction. There won't be any more. That's why I keep telling people, collect Jordans, collect CDs and rap music. Any black memorabilia you can get your hands on, it'll be worth money soon because there won't be any more to create it. That's over. But again, it's all connected. Everything's connected. And you have to ask the right questions, which is what we're doing here. This Charlie Kirk, his shirt in front of his face, are you not curious about why? Look, he's sitting here in arrest. Why does his shirt pop up? Why are you not curious?
Right shoulder, his right shoulder, right below, right above his right pectoral muscle. Watch that speck turn into a bullet hole, but it moves across his shirt without leaving any trace that it was there, and then pops up onto his neck.
Something blew up from under his shirt. Why don't you know this? I thought you were smart. You told me you were smart. You swore to me you were educated. Why don't you know this? I'll wait. Charlie Kirk was a brilliant man. He was far more capable of thinking than probably you or anyone you're related to. Yeah. You know what? Honestly, I like this chat. You know, you guys are actually engaging. You guys are thinking. We're using our skills to talk to one another, and we're ignoring the trolls. There are going to be those in there that want to throw you off topic. There are going to be people in there. They're going to want to bring up race, and they're going to want to bring up sexuality. They're going to bring up anything to distract you and throw you off course. We're going to stay on target. Why did you not see this going on with Charlie Kirk's shirt and it's been 6 months? Why is right now the first time you're seeing this? It's because you were not shown this. You cannot you cannot depend on anyone, a stranger, to hand feed you information, because you have to ask who's holding the spoon. In this situation, I'm holding the spoon, but it's a joint operation. We're working together on the data that we're going to consume, and hopefully we get to the bottom of it and we figure out some things. I want to actually listen to another breakdown. I don't like her. I don't like mullets. And I just, she looks like, remember the Goofy movie? Remember his girlfriend? Like her with the mullet? I don't like. So we're not gonna watch any more of her video. Okay. Now this video is interesting.
My friends, this is big news.
Well, yeah, Israel has motive to kill him. Israel was his biggest donor. Israel was giving over $100 million annually to Charlie Kirk's TPUSA, and nobody knows why. Were they buying what? Okay, what was Israel getting in return for their $100 million donation? If somebody can put that in the chat, I'll humor your counter arguments.
I want to say breaking news. I don't even know what the hell breaking news.
Jew questions can never be misconstrued as Jew hate. If you say someone questioning you means they hate you, that means you're guilty of everything they're accusing you of. You sound like my ex-girlfriend. It's like my ex-girlfriend, and she asked me, "Hey, can I see your phone?" And I look at her and I say, "You must hate me." Like, wait, what? I'm asking if I can see if you are cheating on me, and you swear I must hate you. You're guilty. You're absolutely guilty. So if you feel like that, if that's what that equates to you, then you're the problem. And this is probably the wrong page for you. You might want to go follow someone that speaks Yiddish with a little yarmulke.
Means, but let me tell you something right off the bat. You know, and I know that we haven't bought any of the story regarding Tyler Robinson. Nothing. But this is huge. Something just happened in this case that changed.
Yo, somebody called her an insufferable torta. Hey, that's some wild English right there. I like it. But I'm sorry. Let's listen to what he says about the Charlie Kirk cake. With Candace Owens, he's been also one of the good guys from the very beginning. He has an extreme face, and his glasses are small, but he makes a really good point. So let's listen to what Lionel has to say.
Changes everything. And if you're paying attention, I mean, really, really super duper paying attention, you will understand exactly and immediately why this is not just another courtroom development, not just another filing, not some extraneous bit of sub-judice nonsense, not just another technicality buried in legal juridical language. This is the kind of detail that cracks a case wide open. That, I say unto you, bespeaks and yells reasonable doubt. Remember, nobody has to prove Tyler Robinson is innocent. They've just got to present a reasonable doubt.
Well, actually, you got to prove that he's guilty. I don't got to prove my innocence. You have to prove my guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. I called it 6 months ago. I said there will not be a conviction. There can't be a conviction. There's no evidence. All the evidence is saying that he wasn't there. They can't even show you him you can't even prove that's him on these videos. He's wearing different clothing. He's at different places. He had never even been to the campus before. He didn't go to that school. So all of this was just circumstantial, and it's just quick. It's just weird how many people jumped on board without asking any questions. You people who don't question anything, you scare me to death, because I feel like our country I feel like history's starting to repeat itself. Once upon a time, there was something called the Salem witch trials, and somebody was accused of a woman of being a witch, and everybody would come together. They'd arrest her, and they'll say, "Look, we're going to throw you in the water. If you know how to swim and you don't drown, you're a witch, and we're going to burn you. But if you do drown, that means you're not a witch, and you're found not guilty, but you're dead." That means that they were convicting these people with no evidence. All it took was accusations alone without any proof. And I feel like we're gradually going back there. I'll give you a case in point. What's going on with Cesar Chavez? Someone says, yeah, back in the year 1960, we had sex in a car, but it was unconsensual. how the hell do you prove that something that happened almost 70 years ago even happened at all? There's zero proof. There was no proof that any of the stories from these women was true. But people, it's only been 2 weeks and they're changing the day for his holiday, street signs, taking down memorial. It's like, wait a minute. So you guys are going full-fledged with counseling a dead man who's been dead for over 30 years. You're canceling a dead man over 70-year-old allegations, and there's zero proof. You guys scare me. That means you guys are, because now it seems like the court of public opinion is going to replace the court of law, where now evidence-based convictions are no longer going to be a thing. It's just going to be opinion-based. And that scares the hell out of me. And it should scare the hell out of you, because it's your son and your brother and your dad that's next. And there's no way for you to defend something that nobody could prove that you did in the first place. There is no counter. And I feel like we're heading back to that point, because case in point, look at Tyler Robinson. You guys believed all this nonsense about him, and there's never been one shred of evidence at all.
Reasonable doubt as to whether the state of Utah can prove.
It sounds exactly like E. Jean Carroll. Exactly.
Beyond and to the exclusion of every reasonable doubt, and with a degree of moral certainty, that all of the elements of
you know what, Tammy? I agree with you. It is just black people. That's a good point also.
Murder can be proved. Because right now, according to a new defense filing, the bullet that ostensibly killed Charlie Kirk may not match the rifle prosecutors say
he was not on the campus 2 weeks before.
Was used by Tyler Robinson. Let that sit for a second. I don't care what you say. They're going to qualify it. Oh, they're going to say, well, that doesn't mean that it was ruled out. No, you have to affirmatively prove that. This is the biggest piece of not guilty there is. This is reasonable doubt. What are we talking about after? If I can't prove, if you can't prove, if they can't prove that this 30-06 granddaddy shooting iron was the one responsible for the dispatch of Charlie, that's it. What are we talking about? What?
Exactly. It's over. Case closed. Se acabó. We're done. It's over. And people want to pretend like it's not a big deal. Well, you don't actually have to need the gun to prove he shot him. Then what the hell do you mean you don't need a gun to prove that he shot him? If you have a gun and you're saying that your whole case is predicated on the fact that this is the gun you used to shoot somebody, and they prove that that bullet didn't come from that gun, you can't say, well, he used another imaginary gun. You just didn't find it. That's not how this works. You don't get to move the goalpost. It's done. I'll be honest with you guys. I have not watched this video. I just looked up that he was talking about it. So you're going to see some of the parallels. I wanted to watch this video live with you guys as well, because I want to just see if I'm on the right track. And I'm seeing that I'm talking about some of these things these other people are talking about without even watching their videos. So it's like we're coming to the same conclusions. That means I'm on to something. So that's why we're watching it together. So I'm glad you guys are here. But, if the glove don't fit, you must acquit. It's kind of the same thing. You can't say I shot somebody with a gun, and then when they do a ballistics, they say, well, the bullet didn't come from this gun, but you still say I shot him. Like, that's not how this works. That's not how it works. You don't get to just, make up new things. That's not how it works. You accuse somebody of something, you present the evidence. If the evidence is faulty and it's not there, well, then the case is over and you lost. But you should all be interested in getting to the truth, not getting to a conviction. Let's keep that in mind, shall we?
Martians?
I mean, I don't know. The Jews, they said the Jews did it, but there was a serial killer that was the handyman that killed 5 other blondes, and he was the person who died in prison that admitted to it. But if you want to feel like OJ did it because he was on the Naked Gun 33 1/3 and you didn't like his character, but you liked Leslie Nielsen, I'll be honest, I really do like Leslie Nielsen. I thought he was a great actor, but in that situation, if you want to believe a professional football player can also moonlight as a professional killer with a knife, but doesn't cut himself. I don't know if you guys ever know, if you're trying to stab somebody, there's like a 95% chance you're going to stab you're going to cut yourself as well. Everybody's not, just because you're an athlete doesn't mean you're a professional killer. They're not the brightest guys. I don't know if you guys know that or not.
Did this? Let this sit in for a second. Let this marinate. The bullet doesn't match the weapon.
Yes, I could be an attorney if I wanted to, but I'm able to analyze evidence. I can read, and I have my IQ permits me to be able to. I don't need someone to translate. I don't need a lawyer to translate words for me or help me understand anything. I'm capable of doing so. However, at your IQ point, it might be difficult for you. You get migraines, and it's frustrating. So I can understand you're frustrated now, finding out that other people don't share your same disability. So yeah, but no, I definitely can speak like an attorney if I wanted to. And now we have ChatGPT, so we all can be attorneys if need be.
You see this right here? You know what this is? This is a hand.
Why would I go to law school? I own a business and I like what I do. I didn't want to be an attorney because I didn't like being indoors all day under artificial light. And it's kind of like being a social worker all day, every day. It's just bad news. And I'm one of those people that being around other people, if they're negative, their negativity, it sticks onto me and it drains me. So I'm not able to turn it off when I get off of work, go home and live a normal life, and then go back into that environment the next day, and and just relive hell and watch people go in and out of prison all day, and it's all just negative, sad bullshit. I couldn't do it for money, so that's why I didn't go to law school.
So it doesn't match the weapon either because it wasn't used. And the case built around a narrative of a targeted killing, a 3-hour drive. All of a sudden, this man, he decides, I'm going to do this. By God, I'm going to.
It was inconclusive, but O.J. Simpson's DNA was not found under her fingernails, or that would have been how they would have convicted him. But there was I don't think the DNA that was found wasn't O.J.'s. And the problem is they wasted so much money and time going after him. They spent no time looking for the actual killers. So they were distracted. And by the time he was exonerated, too much money was lost by the city. They never pursued these other leads because remember, there was a handyman. You know what? For you guys who don't know, let's see here. Handyman OJ killer. Let's see here. Was it Glenn Rogers? Yeah.
Strange coincidences, a recent meeting, and some outlandish claims. Here's why Glenn Edward Rogers confessed to the murder of Nicole Brown Simpson. In the early morning hours of June 13, 1994, the bodies of 35-year-old Nicole Brown Simpson and her friend, 25-year-old Ronald Goldman, were found lying in pools of blood outside Simpson's Brentwood, California condominium. As reported by Penn Live, both Simpson and Goldman had been stabbed multiple times, and their attacker had fled the scene. In the course of their investigation, authorities learned Nicole was the ex-wife of former football star O.J. Simpson. For AP News, law enforcement officials went to O.J.'s house at approximately 2012 documentary My Brother, the Serial Killer suggested that the pair were actually murdered by serial killer Glenn Edward Rogers. In the documentary, Glenn's brother Clay Rogers said, "I'm absolutely certain that my brother killed Nicole Simpson and Ron Goldman." Clay also suggested that Glenn had the means and opportunity to kill Nicole and Goldman, as he was working as a house painter in the area when they were murdered.
Okay, so there we go right there. He was a house painter in the area when they were murdered, and he had a history of also killing other people in the same manner. The way he killed his other victims was the exact same way he killed these two people. There's already a man who confessed to it. You want to believe that the comedian who was a retired football player, a champion, actually did it. You have a bias that's nothing to do with reality, which I can understand. Certain people don't like certain people. I don't like certain people. I might not like you. I think you did it. So I'm not gonna, say you're a bad person for that. You don't gotta like anybody. I'm an American. I don't like, there's all types of people I don't like. I have a right to not like certain people based on superficial. It can be based on skin color, religion. I can just not like you for whatever I don't like. I don't like it. I don't like it. So I understand why you might feel like OJ did it, but there's already a man that confessed to it, whether you care or not, which I mean, it's up to you.
Stop what I'm doing because I've got to stop Charlie Kirk because, for whatever reason, a weapon that is tied to the suspect, a confession.
Literally, the man already. We just beat the whole OJ case, Tammy. If you go watch the video on your own time.
To his father, which, as Candace Owens has indicated and others, there's going to be no confession. Watch that be refuted. So forget that. All right, go ahead. Try. Let's work with that one later. That's going to fall flat. But besides that, digital messages, which are weird to begin with, the planning, the intent, and everything lined up, everything presented as clean, direct, and overwhelming. This is what they want you to believe. That single detail cuts straight through the center of it, and it eviscerates the state's case.
You can literally, you can go to a police station and say, hey, I have a confession. I want to confess that I was actually the man who shot Abraham Lincoln in the theater. There are going to be some people that are going to think, oh my God, he's a time traveler. Maybe he did shoot him. And there are going to be others that are just going to be like, okay, there's no evidence that he was actually there. He's probably mentally unwell. He's making up a story. But there are going to be some people like Tammy in the chat who are going to say, I think he really did. And he just lives a long time. He's just an old guy, but he killed Abraham Lincoln. No matter what Tyler Robinson, they're saying, oh, he confessed. Okay, if you confessed, then what gun did you use to shoot him? Okay, if you tell me you shot him with this gun, but the ballistics says you're a liar, then you're just making up a story for whatever reason. But I'm gonna tell you this, he never confessed. There is no confession. And the video they're saying that he confessed on, they lost it. The video of him turning himself into the police, lost it. The video of him walking from the parking lot where they parked their car into the police station, lost it. Oh, it was a 30-day, every 30 days, the videos are wiped and then it restarts on our surveillance. I'm like, so no one thought to save the video of him turning himself in, one of the biggest cases of assassination in American history? I mean, so it was all fake. And it's like, I don't know why certain people are pushing so hard to make fake make-believe reality. It's never going to happen. It's like when they were trying to make, try to make something a thing. It's not going to happen. It's never going to work. Like in the movie Mean Girls with Glenn Coco, it's never going to happen.
Because in any serious prosecution, especially a capital case,
zero. Listen, me and Lionel are both explaining to you how there is no evidence. What do you want to argue about? Okay, how about this? You're in the chat, right? If we're wrong, list the evidence and let's talk about it. Don't cry about it and say, wow, just okay, if we're wrong, tell us where we're wrong. Show us. Prove it.
Theoretically, a capital case, especially one where the death penalty is on the table, theoretically, the chain of evidence is everything. The evidence is everything. The cause of death is everything. The ballistics are everything.
Okay, if OJ did it, why did the serial killer confess to doing it? KDN 5718. Because you literally have a man who was a serial killer. That a serial killer means you've killed other people, right? That means you have a pattern, you have a history. And he killed other people the exact same way Ron Goldman and Nicole Brown Simpson were killed. Why? Okay, if there's already a pattern of behavior, he confessed. And he was already in the area doing painting and maintenance work. If you already have someone doing that, why do you want to believe OJ did it so bad when there was literally a convicted serial killer in the area who was killing people that exact same way? Matter of fact, who else did OJ kill with a knife? Or so it was amateur hour. So his first time ever stabbing and killing people, he's able to not only just successfully kill both of them, but he's also able to escape. Like, you're ridiculous. And I thought OJ did it forever because I thought I just thought that they let him go because he was black and it was a race thing. And then I thought he confessed to it, but it turns out none of that was true. The truth is there was actually a man who had a history of killing people in that manner. And the state wasted so much time and money on trying to go after the juice that they let a serial killer continue. And I think he killed several more people before he was finally caught, all because the city of Los Angeles and the state of California failed to do their due diligence because they were targeting a celebrity like idiots. Think about how much time was wasted going after Tyler Robinson like fucking idiots when we could have been trying to figure out what exploded under Charlie's shirt and what actually killed him. It's the same equation. We're wasting time. Well, time was wasted, but thankfully people like myself produce content. Mr. Let Go, Jesse on Fire, famously Candace Owens. We never let it go. You let it go. You don't do videos about it. I do. So I'm not letting this go. We kept the pressure on. We kept this alive. And guess what? It's now favorable in our favor, and we're vindicated. We didn't waste our time. We know what we saw, and nobody could tell us different. And it turns out we were correct. Going forward, turn off your TV, come sit on here on the internet and come talk to us. I'm inviting you to follow my channel, hit that bell for notifications, like this video, follow me. Have these conversations with me. Let's figure this out together. And this is not going to be the last time. This is only just one thing. There's other cases, there's other topics. I talk about a slew of different things every single day. I like the input from my followers because we're trying to figure it out together. I'm not talking at you guys. I'm talking with you. That's why I'm in the audience, why I'm in the chat, and we're engaging. Okay. Lionel, I don't know if he talks to his audience. I watch videos on YouTube all the time. I never see people having a back and forth with the chat the way I'm doing it. It's very, very rare. So because I have a different agenda, I'm here to figure things out. I want to make sure I'm right. I want to make sure I'm on the right page. But it's not about just seeing how many people are going to go along with you. It's like, okay, let's look at the evidence. Just because everybody else says one thing and I say another, we need to make a comparison and see who's right. It's not about just go along to get along. We're not doing this whole follow the leader bull. We're going to actually figure this out and use our brains. It's called discernment.
Not part of it, not most of it, everything. Toda. ¿Me entienden? Now, and ballistics is not peripheral. It is fundamental, critical, the gravamen. You were telling a jury that this man used this weapon to fire this bullet that killed this victim, right? Right? I mean, that's the spine of the case. And if that connection weakens, even slightly, the entire structure collapses like a controlled demolition. It's like
exactly. DNA was planted by LAPD. It was what was that man's name? The LAPD detective that planted the evidence, and they proved it. It was officer. Let's see here. LAPD officer who planted evidence. His name was. I know the guy's on the tip of my tongue. Mark Furman, Detective Mark Furman. And that was one of the people that was the bloody glove. And remember, if the glove don't fit, you must acquit. I am myself a man with very large hands. I'm a big guy. Yeah, I'm not putting, I can't put on a glove that doesn't fit and do activities like stab or drive or anything. It's not, the glove must fit, and the glove didn't fit. But they planted the evidence because they wanted a conviction. I don't even think it's about race when it comes to police departments. I think it's about funding. You know, the more crime you have in your district, and then you can justify asking for more money by the number of convictions versus how many crimes are taking place. And if you want to see progress, you have to reward it. So I think that it's a cost risk analysis when it comes to police departments. That's how they get their funding, is by trying to ramp up convictions for certain crimes. I don't even think it's about race. I think it was about they wanted to get a conviction because there's a lot of money going into these cases. I remember watching the Young Thug YSL trial. They spent millions for a man to get probation. Like, that's a cost risk analysis. It doesn't add up. They're not getting the convictions for all the money that they're spending. And these cities in these jurisdictions, they also have budgets. Everyone has a budget. It's not just they have unlimited money and resources. No, things must be accounted for, and time must be accounted for as well. So you're right. I'm glad you see. We're all getting our memories jogged about the O.J. Simpson case. I'm glad. You know what? Since you brought it up, let's go back and watch like one more second of the OJs. Let's watch a little bit. Let's watch it a little bit from this guy right here. We'll watch this part one more time.
Suggested that the pair were actually murdered by serial killer Glenn Edward Rogers. In the documentary,
A serial killer means he's already killed multiple people, not just two.
Glenn's brother Clay Rogers said, "I'm absolutely certain that my brother killed Nicole Simpson and Ron Goldman."
His brother said he's absolutely certain that he killed Nicole Simpson and Ron Goldman, but nobody ever said they were absolutely certain that OJ did it. So it's a big difference.
Also suggested that Glenn had the means and opportunity to kill Nicole and Goldman, as he was working as a house painter in the area when they were murdered. For ABC News, Glenn reportedly told his brother and sister that he met Nicole and noted that she was wealthy.
They got money, they're well off, and I'm taking her down.
In an interview with a criminal profiler, Glenn allegedly claimed that O.J. Simpson had hired him to steal a pair of earrings and kill his former wife during the robbery. Glenn also provided specific details about the deaths of Nicole Brown Simpson and Ron Goldman, which further supported his claim that he committed the brutal murders. ABC News reported that, in addition to knowing details about the murders, Rogers was able to draw a detailed picture of the knife he claims to have used to kill the victims. According to ABC News, filmmaker David Monahan said he believes the information provided by Glenn's brother. Combined with Glenn's confession to the criminal profiler, Monahan believes that this should have been enough to prompt an official investigation into his possible involvement in the murders. However, Ronald Goldman's father, Fred Goldman, disagreed.
Of course you disagree. Well, the other guy was poor and OJ was rich, and you wanted that money, and he ended up never getting that money. It's all about money at the end of the day. It's all about money. That's like I was just saying. When it comes to these courts, when it comes to these investigations, when it comes to the outcomes, it's about money. Now, when it comes to Tyler Robinson, I don't think they spent very much money on this investigation. They didn't waste much. Remember, he turned himself in. There wasn't no massive manhunt. There's no, and the forensics, I don't know how much that cost, but the ballistics just came back and it wasn't even his gun. So why do you guys want to believe that he still did it? The ballistics said he's wrong. Even if he's an autistic kid that has a vivid imagination and he wants to say, I did it. I did it to Carly. I did it to Charles. I popped him. I popped Charlie. How'd you shoot him? With this freaking elephant rifle, 30-06. Okay. All right. You do the ballistics. Okay. Yeah. The bullet didn't come from this gun. You still convict him because he confessed to something that you can't prove he did. You convict a mentally ill person because he walks into a police station and confesses to killing Abraham Lincoln 220 years later. Let's think about what we're asking to do. Now, is that a common practice? People using mentally handicapped people as patsies to go down for crimes that they didn't commit because they need to get a conviction for certain crimes? Of course, there's a history of that. There's a history of it. Lawsuits. Judges have been convicted. Lawyers, prosecutors have been convicted of doing it. It's a thing. It's a thing. So even if he did confess it, if you can't prove he did it because of the weapons ballistics, then the case is thrown out anyway. And he's just another crazy person confessing to a crime he didn't commit. If the evidence doesn't support it, then there is no conviction.
That Building 7 collapsed. Now, the defense is saying that the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms, ATF.
You talking about the Central Park 5? Yeah, those fuckers did it. Actually, they went over that trial again. They only exonerated those people because they were afraid blacks were going to riot. But there was overwhelming evidence that those kids were not guilty, and I'm reluctant to call them kids. But that's a separate thing. But that Central Park 5, they actually were out there doing something. They were out there committing crimes, and they weren't just innocent kids just happened to be jogging in the area. That's BS. BS.
An explosive could not match the bullet recovered at autopsy to the rifle allegedly tied to Tyler Robinson. That is not a small display.
Louisiana is a very long way from California. So his Louisiana family, how would they know either way? They probably barely speak English down in the bayou. They all sound like Bobby Boucher's.
Discrepancy. That is not a footnote. That's a rupture.
They didn't. I don't know if they received 58 million. Let me ask ChatGPT. Let me ask Art. Fuck. Let me see if I can ask Arthur. Let's see here. Hey, quick question, Arthur. Did Ron Goldman ever receive the money from O.J. Simpson's estate for the wrongful death of his son?
As of today, the estate has not fully paid that civil judgment. The Goldman family has spent years trying to collect, but it's been a complicated legal battle. OJ declared bankruptcy and moved to protect assets. While they've recovered some funds over the years, the total judgment has never been fully satisfied.
Okay. Do you know how much they've received? Because someone just said, her name is Tammy Pierce, by the way. She said that Ron Goldman received $58 million from the O.J. Simpson estate. Not sure where she got that information from. Is that true, or is she lying?
No, they have not received 58 million. The original judgment was 33.5 million from the 1997 wrongful death suit. Over the years, the Goldmans have recovered only a fraction of that. It's estimated in the low millions. They have consistently stated that they have never come close to recovering the full amount, and certainly not anything near 58 million. So the figure Tammy mentioned isn't based on reality.
You know what? Thank you, Arthur. Tammy has been saying a lot of things today that aren't based on reality, and I'm pretty sure she doesn't know what a woman is, and I'm pretty sure she thinks men can give birth and all kinds of weird stuff. I don't think my chat is a comfortable place for her, so we're going to remove her. Thank you, Arthur. So, justification, Tammy, I do appreciate you being here, but you have to go now because you're an idiot and you lie a lot, and we don't like liars here. You could have came with some evidence or been able to prove one of your arguments. You haven't done that at all. But you've been fun. Okay, it's been fun having you here. You've been funny, but it's time for you to go, I think. And that's how you deal with the trolls, because they lie a lot and they'll say things to throw your conversation off and to derail what you're talking about. Their whole point is to basically break down what you're saying so that people don't think about it. They're not actually here to learn or to talk or to debate. They're just basically here to try to basically disrupt things because they don't want you to have these conversations. They wish they could censor you, but because we're Americans, they cannot. So they try to derail your topics, and it doesn't work. But we had to make light of this idiot by the name of Tammy. And I like some people named Tammy. My ex-girlfriend's named Tammy, and I like Tammy a lot. But this Tammy, I just don't. I really don't. So let's continue.
It is a hemorrhage. And it doesn't stop there. Oh, nay. The defense is also pointing to DNA complications. Yep, DNA. Multiple contributors on keeping
it real. I'll be honest with you. I'm not sure he's dead either. I thought he was. I'm second guessing everything. Another thing that came out is that everybody around Charlie Kirk is military. All of the guys that work for TPUSA, all of their relatives are high-ranking military officials, including Erica Kirk. They're all Erica Kirk used to work in Romania with the military doing orphanages. And then the guy, what's his name? General Busher, he was convicted of running a brothel out of the orphanage that apparently Erica Kirk was sponsoring or down there starting with the other dude from TPUSA before she even met Charlie. All these people around Charlie, all being connected via the military, and Charlie's just the only oddball that just didn't know none the wiser, but he was super intelligent and he does a lot of research and very smart, and he's just the only one. So basically they built an entire Truman Show set around Charlie Kirk, and he was just none the wiser. I don't think Charlie was that dumb. I don't think that they would have been able to run this operation for that many years, and he doesn't know everyone around him is military, and he just thinks that this is all just organic, random happenstance, that all these people are now in his circle. It seems to me like maybe Charlie was in on his the faking of his death, and Charlie is somewhere else now. I don't know for sure, but it doesn't appear that Charlie was. I don't know. I don't know, but there's a lot of evidence that is telling me that Charlie's not gone. No one's, when I look at how weird everyone behaved the day they said he died, the reason they were behaving weird, in my opinion, is not because he died, it's because he's still alive. They're behaving like people who were just doing a show. It's kind of like you exit stage left and then everybody claps. You didn't really die on stage. You just exited, and it's kind of like your character left the stage, but you're still alive. It was a show. It's an act. Nobody behaved like them, like they just watched their best friend and their cash cow die. Because remember, without Charlie Kirk, there is no TPUSA, and they're making money selling merch. They're not making money doing speaking events. They made some good money doing that halftime show, but for the most part, their bread and butter was going to college campuses and owning gay kids and black kids who have all these weird mental illness, the mental issues, but yet are on these campuses and allowed to be there. So he was going there and addressing them, but there was no, but he was getting a lot of money from Israel, and we still don't know what were they paying him for. What was he doing to earn $100 million a year from these people? Because I do a lot of different stuff, and I'm not being paid $100 million. I mean, I could, but I don't see how him going to these college campuses was worth $100 million a year. I don't see it.
Pieces of evidence. Complex mixtures that require expert analysis across disciplines. Not just one scientist, not just one report, but layers of interpretation, validation, and challenge. Didn't know this, did you? That means uncertainty. That means ambiguity. That means reasonable doubt. And reasonable doubt can stop the train. That means the kind of doubt that defense attorneys will build entire strategies around. Remember what I'm telling you. Remember who I am. I'm a former prosecutor. I'm a lawyer. I know what I'm talking about. I'm not just some guy giving you an opinion. I'm telling you the truth. And then there is the volume. The volume. 20,000 files, audio, video, documents, discovery that is still being processed, still being collated. Evidence that has not even been fully analyzed yet. The defense is asking for time, months of it, to go through what the prosecution is presenting, and they'll get it. By the way, I'm sorry, Erica Kirk's motion for speedy trial notwithstanding, or her recommendation of speedy trial. That alone tells you something right now. See, this is not a simple.
The fact that broad wanted a speedy trial, and now it turns out that this isn't even the guy who shot your husband. Why would you ask for a speedy trial? Why wouldn't you be worried about figuring out and going through all the evidence? Why didn't you want to know the truth? Speedy trial, she was speedy to offer forgiveness, but Tyler Robinson never asked her for forgiveness. So she's volunteering forgiveness to a man that it turns out had nothing to do with Charlie's death. All of this is just, it's only weird if you think these people are not guilty. It's only weird if you think that Charlie was completely innocent and Erica's innocent. I don't think neither one of them are innocent. I think they were both in on it, because there's no way Charlie could be that smart, but that gullible. I mean, he would, it doesn't add up. People that question stuff, question everything. We're inquisitive. That's what we do. It's hard to sneak stuff by us, but to sneak an entire corporation around us and staff and people, and you just don't know their connections to these other corporations, it doesn't make sense. Charlie and Erica, I hate to say Erica was the only one, but she's not behaving like a widow because she doesn't think she's a widow. And honestly, most married women, when you have a husband that's always on the road and traveling the way Charlie was, they're not obsessed with their husband. They hate their husband. So I can understand that. If she would have just came out and treated Charlie Kirk the way, I don't know, JD Vance's wife treats him, see, that's a real wife. She can't stand JD. Hates the man. She never smiles. She's miserable. That's a wife. Erica Kirk, bubbly, smiley, happy, cheese. That's not a wife. That's sugar baby. That's your side chick. That's the girl you pay to like you, not the one who you're married to. Once they're married to you, they got their connection to you. They don't got to pretend to like you no more. If you break up, they get to sue you and get money. Job's done. So once you understand and that's how the human dynamic goes, and you stop looking at these people on television like they're famous or different than you, they're just like you. The same rules and the same pattern of behavior between regular people when it comes to relationships apply to these people as well. Don't fool yourself. So that's why I'm saying it's her wanting a speedy trial. It's like they were just trying to brush us under the rug, and we are not brushing a goddamn thing. We are going to get to the bottom of this come hell or high water. We are never, this is never going to get old. It's never going to be played out. We are going to keep going because I'm doing this for free. I'm not paid to do these interviews. Yes, I have sponsors who pay me to do ad reads, whatever. I'm monetized. So thank you guys for tuning in and watching. That's why I just like the video. Subscribe to the channel. You don't have to do donations. You don't have to do super chats. I'll talk to you guys pro bono. All I ask you to do is if you're watching the content and you're new here, like the video. If you're watching the content, subscribe to the page. That's our exchange. I'll sit here and talk to you and explain all this stuff to you every single day. All you have to do is subscribe. That's our exchange. You don't have to give me a penny. You watching is enough. So,
cases, you know, this is not clean. This is not locked down in the way that they would like it to be. Not the way that it was initially presented to the public. Oh, nay.
No, I mean, the only reason why I said Erica might have been prepared for his death was because she knew when the people who put her with him were going to get rid of him. She was the one who probably blew the whistle and said, look, he's gone past a certain point. There's no bringing him back into the fold. It's over. He's going to start telling people to go against the Israel agenda. He's going to start saying that what's happening in Palestine is a genocide, and he's already turning on Jewish donors and we're losing millions. It's going to just get worse. Let's stop the bleeding right here. She knew he was going to die because she was one of the people that planned it or planned his exit. Because if he's not dead, then, I mean, you know, but she did plan to take his place. She's effectively replaced him as a CEO. Why? What experience does she have running a corporation like this? And why would anybody be comfortable leaving such a corporation that makes so much money in her hands, and she's not capable, nor does she have a history of running corporations of that size? It doesn't logically add up, but apparently she took his place. It seems like they just replaced Charlie with her. And they were trying to find another guy to replace it. It just wasn't going to be good enough because Charlie was a very unique person. And it's hard to replace that. You know, it was his own personality.
Nay, I say. Because early on, the narrative was straightforward, too straightforward.
No, it seems like Utah is trying to prove him as guilty. That's why they were able to get a grand jury indictment with no freaking evidence. This ballistics thing means somebody screwed up somewhere. This ballistics was not supposed to come back and say it doesn't belong to that gun. Somebody screwed up. And honestly, their screw up is in our favor because we're looking for the truth. We're not looking for a conviction. We want the right people or the right questions to come up. If something detonated under his shirt, I don't know how we're going to prove who mic'd him up that day, who invented the device, and how it actually happened. But it looked like there was a pellet inside that device, and it was an air-actuated pellet delivery, and it shot up, and it hit him, and it hit him. It was supposed to hit him here, ends up hitting him here. It almost missed him. He almost, it almost didn't hit him at all. If it even hit him at all. There was, there was a big bulge on his neck that day. He had like these weird mannerisms, and it looked like there was a prosthetic. Something underneath his neck and a layer of skin underneath his neck. We've examined these videos. It's so hard to tell nowadays because movie magic is real, CGI is real, AI is real. You don't really know what you're looking at, but we're doing our best to try to figure it out. That's the best you can do is ask questions. Once you decide you don't want to question things anymore, then you might as well just give up on life because life is over. You're given a curious mind for a reason. Question everything. Question everyone. Don't take anyone's word for it. Don't take my word for it. When I talk, I explain things in detail and I try to show my evidence. You should demand that from everyone. Don't just take anyone's word for anything.
A suspect identified, a weapon tied to him, a timeline established.
Well, actually, no, he wasn't assassinated by a left-wing Antifa Democrat psychopath. He wasn't assassinated by Tyler Robinson. That's what this whole ballistics thing just proved. Tyler Robinson didn't shoot him. The bullet didn't come from that gun. Something else allegedly killed Charlie Kirk or made it seem like Charlie Kirk was dead. And it wasn't that rifle. So now a whole new investigation must be launched. And they're going to just have to pick up where, and they're going to go through all of our videos because we've already compiled all the evidence. So they're just going to have to get on board with us.
A confession to his father, text messages suggesting awareness. Very strange, weird phrasing.
Yeah, there was no such thing as COVID, and millions of people across the world die every single year from something called the flu. We've as humans, we've known about it and been dying from it every winter for thousands of years. So the people around the world who died, people die every day. That's a part of life as humans. We live and we die. No one lives forever. And people get sick and they die. People get sick and die from the flu. But magically, the years that you're supposed to believe in COVID, the flu deaths were 0. And the COVID deaths were the exact same amount that the flu deaths were the years prior. They swapped it out for 1 year, and then they went back to normal. Now the flu is back as being a thing, and there's no more talk of your fake imaginary virus. I know you want to believe it because you took those injections. So for you to question the virus, now you have to question what you took and why people are sick and why you're having medical issues. So I can understand why you're reluctant to accept that information. But the best I can do is just offer you to follow my channel. I'll explain to you these things and you won't have to question or ask anything. And I know it's uncomfortable for you. It's uncomfortable for everyone. We all have friends and family around us who took it. They're either dead or they're dying. And it's not something that people want to think about. Mortality is something that's scary, especially if you know you're about to die. You might not know exactly what moment, but you're like, you know you're in a car that just drove off a cliff. You just don't know when it's going to hit, Taking that shot is kind of, you drove off a cliff. You just don't know when you're gonna hit the bottom, So, not to make this uncomfortable, but you can again follow my channel and we'll talk about it. But if you don't want to talk about it, you don't have to. I mean, the future's coming whether we talk about it or not.
Words like vehicle. Anyway, text messages concern even attempts to manage evidence. Got to get granddaddy's shooting iron. And don't forget Cash Patel. Please don't be. Take it easy. You're the.
I don't know, James. I'm not black, folks. You got to go find somebody black and ask. You have to ask them personally. I couldn't speak for them. I know some black people, but not well enough where I can assume to speak on their behalf and explain how they think. They do a lot of strange things that I don't understand, and I never will. So you would have to go to one of their channels. I can recommend some blacks that you can go visit, and maybe they can help clear up their mindset. I wouldn't personally be able to do it, unfortunately.
You're the FBI head. Don't contaminate a potential jury. Just sit back. Plus, this isn't even federal. This is state. Back off. Go back to your girlfriend. Play some country music and back off there, Sparky. It's all felt so
Yeah, the flu deaths did disappear. If you don't know that, Cody, you need to go look it up yourself, unless you want me to show you that also. And then, you're going to feel dumb. And I'm not trying to embarrass you. But you might want to go, look it up for yourself. I'm not sure if you're watching this on your phone or on your computer. ChatGPT is your friend, or go to Google and look up flu deaths versus COVID deaths. And they'll be able to explain to you the discrepancy that was temporarily there, where the flu deaths were at 0 for those for 2021, 2020. And COVID deaths were the only things being registered. I'm not trying to embarrass you. So, this is one of those ones where I'm going to let you respectfully figure it out for yourself.
Decisive, but cases are not decided in headlines. Did you know that? In courtrooms, lawyers, adversaries, and expert witnesses, and the rules of evidence. And in courtrooms, details matter. every inconsistency, every gap, every unanswered question matters. Big time. Take the rifle, please. Little Henny Young in there. The prosecution says it was a family weapon, recognized by the suspect's father, turned over to authorities after an alleged, a putative confession. That's powerful, right? It's emotional. That's persuasive. Theoretically. But if the bullet doesn't fit, it's gonna have to acquit. Shades of Johnny Cochran. If the bullet doesn't match the rifle, then what exactly are we looking at? What is it? It's a rifle. You know what this is? This is a lint brush. So what? What does it matter? What if it's the wrong weapon? Was there another weapon? What does this weapon have to do? How about a machine gun? How about a Thompson? It's not even linked as well. Was there contamination? Was there misidentification? Was there error? What? How do you work around this? Remember, you're going to make, and by the way, the prosecution cannot just say, let's not worry about the firearm, and let the defense bring it up. Then you don't get to just move past this, and then you layer in the digital evidence, the text messages that are weird, that supposedly suggest planning, that concern about. Don't be surprised if Tyler says, I don't know what those messages are. I didn't say them. I don't even write like that.
Well, remember the guy that's saying he wrote the messages to his trans gay boyfriend that was a furry. That man's disappeared. No one's seen him in 6 months since this all began. And there are those who say that that man doesn't exist and he never has. It was all made up because when you go online and try to look for a digital footprint, you can't find any records of this other person who they're claiming to be his gay lover. Matter of fact, what was the name of that guy? Oh, Lance Twiggs. Lance Twiggs is an enigma. He's not a real person, according to those who have been investigating him. Remember, if this is the man who was texting the alleged killer, then he would have also been arrested. He'd be on trial, or he'd at least be held by the state as a witness. None of those have occurred. He's gone, or he's never existed in the first place. But if you're texting a killer, then you're also involved in the crime as well. And they never brought him in for questioning. They can't find him because he doesn't exist. This was all fake. Everything around us, everything going on around us, especially here in the US right now, everything is very fake and very gay. Everything. We're discovering that everything is just corrupt. Everything is just a bunch of smoke and mirrors and fraud. Nothing's real, and I mean, this is not good for stability because you start losing faith. The people lose faith in the country because we're not serious. There's too much fraud and lies, and there's too much just BS. And when we used to think that we were a serious country, but we don't even have rule of law anymore. There's a man that was allegedly named Lance Twiggs that was apparently the boyfriend of Tyler Robinson, who basically did this amazing assassination. The kid disappears. They can't find them to question him, bring him in for, to arrest him, nothing. And no one's even asking, oh, why not? Well, where is he at? Or, where is he? Or how do we reach him? No one's saying anything. It's kind of like, is anybody even awake anymore? It kind of reminds me of the dead internet theory. I don't even know how many of these people are bots or just fake accounts. We don't know. But there should be definitely millions of people asking the exact same logical questions that I'm asking, but I just don't see them. I don't see millions of people asking anything anymore. It just makes you wonder, where are we? Where the hell are we?
I didn't write like that. This is nuts. There's this concern about leaving the evidence, and also, why would he want his fuzzy-headed gay lover, girlfriend, whatever to retrieve it? Hey, honey, would you find that? Would you go? And you've also mentioned, by the way, Jimmy Dore did a great piece on this. Remember the screwdriver that was used to break the weapon down and then build it back up?
Yeah, but I mean, I know you said you heard that, but what do you have any proof of that? And why isn't he in this trial? He would be in the trial if that was the case. You've never heard an interview from Lance Twiggs, never seen him speak about it. You don't know anything about Lance Twiggs. Nothing. You just know the name. You don't know. Go find a video of him. He's with his family. Go look up a video of him. Show him with his family playing checkers or some bullshit. Like no one's thinking anymore. No one's thinking. Why am I the only one here that's like, hey, that's weird that he lives with his family. Okay, prove it. Show me a video of him talking to the camera, talking about the topic, explaining himself. Hey, no, I wasn't involved. Yeah, I think Tyler did it. He did it for me. There's nothing, because there never was anything. There was never a Lance Twiggs to begin with. And I know that's hard for you to accept because you heard it on TV. That was, what was hard for me to accept? When I found out dinosaurs weren't real. They weren't real. Imagine someone, okay, people are debating what happened in 1994 when there was actually a serial killer caught who was killing people in the neighborhood with a knife. People are still thinking OJ did it. That's 30 years ago. And people can't even figure that out. But you want to tell me you can't figure that out, but you figured out 365 million years ago what they were eating, looking like, walking around. It's hard for people to accept that we've been scammed. When people try to talk to you about space, you start thinking, no, there's astronauts, there's nebulas, quasars, there's black holes, there's the Hubble, there's Mars and Jupiter and Uranus and Pluto and all these different bullshit things. And then all this stuff about space has only been around since the 40s. Never any sooner. The 40s and 50s where all this space stuff came out. It's all fake. It's all nonsense. It's not real. It's extremely hard for people to accept that because they watched Star Wars and they watched Star Trek and they watched, Neil deGrasse Tyson, and they're like, no, Rico, no, this is all real. It's real. Just got to close your eyes and believe. Elon Musk has a roadster in orbit, 70,000 miles per hour. And it looks so real. It looks so fake. It must be real. And it's like, it's hard for people to accept reality because we don't want to believe that we were scammed, that we were dumb and gullible. That same disconnect is happening right now with this whole Lance Twiggs thing. No one's ever heard this man say a word, but everyone believes he's real because they have to believe. Because once you find out you can't believe the TV, well, then what are you going to do? Listen to a radio? Or are you going to come find someone like me that'll talk to you like an adult, like a person? At least I'm respectful. At least I'm trying to talk to you. These other people don't even care. They don't care to talk to you. I'll talk to you. Maybe eventually, as my platform grows and my influence grows, maybe I'll get to a point eventually where I won't care to talk to you either. However, until then, you have my ear.
No, but I mean, it doesn't make any sense. Oh, I'm excited. Why? Because I want justice. You see, on their face, all the messages look damning.
He would be arrested because he would technically be a co-conspirator. The theory is he was the one who convinced Tyler Robinson to assassinate Charlie Kirk on his behalf because he said he was afraid of Charlie Kirk coming to town. That's what the backstory is about who Lance Twiggs is. Now, Lance Twigg would be arrested because he would need to be brought in for an interrogation to either confirm or deny that statement. But if he confirms it, well, then he was involved. He actually was one of the people that instructed an autistic man to go jump off a roof, pretending they were defending him. Remember, these leftists, these gays, they're professional victims. So obviously you're going to use somebody else to go do your dirty work, and all you got to do is pretend that you're scared. That's why they're always scared, or they can't breathe, or, oh, I'm pregnant. It's all the same bullshit because they try to manipulate you with your emotions. Apparently, Lance Twiggs would have been emotionally manipulating Tyler Robinson to the point where Tyler felt like he was going to save Lance from Charlie Kirk. That's how outlandish it is. But there have been crazier things have happened. You would have wanted to bring Lance in to either confirm or deny this. Either way, I mean, this is a man's life we're talking about, and he's on trial. That's why this is America.
Theoretically, but even there, context matters. Are they complete? Are they interpreted correctly? Are they corroborated by physical evidence that holds up under scrutiny? See, because if the physical evidence begins rather to fracture, to collapse, to shatter, then the interpretation of everything else becomes less certain. And this is where cases turn and drop and turn flat. And you can quote me on that. Not in dramatic moments, not in emotional appeals, but in quiet technical revelation that forced everyone to step back and reassess what they thought they.
Wild child, if I'm not telling the truth, why are you here? Why don't you go find somebody that's a truth teller? Why would you purposely hang on a page? Because you've been here for over an hour. Why would you be on a page of someone who's a liar? If I'm lying, why are you here? So that's what I mean. It's like they send certain people or these bots, and it's like if you don't agree, and if you're saying what I'm saying it doesn't have any value, why are you here? Obviously, you're lying to yourself, and it's like you're trying to sway the audience to not listen. Why do you care what they listen to so bad? And then, but I'm the bad guy if I'm like, okay, well, we don't have any room for people like this because they are derailing the conversation with nonsense. So unfortunately, wild child, you're going to have to be kicked off the island. If the FBI was protecting him for months, it was so that he would be able to testify. He's not testifying. He's not even a part of the trial. You don't understand how this goes, apparently. I do. So that's why I'm able to make these comments, and you're doing a really bad job refuting them. And an hour to stop misinformation. Do you have a job? Who hired you to stop misinformation? And okay, there's about another 100,000 people doing videos simultaneously right now. How are you on all these different pages stopping information at once? Are you a bot? Are you an AI? Why is my page's misinformation your responsibility, but not the next page over? What made my page so special today? How did I gain your attention? Well, no, they do need them because they just found out the ballistics don't match. So they don't have anything on Tyler Robinson, which means they need all they can get. But how are you going to bring someone in that doesn't exist and that apparently disappeared 6 months ago and hasn't been seen ever since? I'm shocked you guys don't know that he's gone. And if he's gone in the middle of a trial and no one's ever seen him ever since then, but there's no missing persons report, why are you so sure he even exists in the first place? Yeah, that doesn't make any sense. Well, yeah, wild child, you have to eat your own feces now somewhere else. We don't have room for it here.
No. And make no mistake, the stakes here are as high as they get. Imagine he walks. Tyler Robinson walks. This is the capital case, my friend. The possibility of the death penalty is real.
Well, the thing is, they don't know if he's an accessory or not. They never interviewed him. They have text messages between them discussing the crime, but you don't know if he's an accessory or not because you never brought him in and interviewed him. So you don't know who or what he is. Don't you? I mean, listen, okay, the criminal justice system is running every day. There's nothing new under the sun. You can look at all the other cases that are just like this one. This man would be considered an accessory. He would be considered a person of interest. He would actually have to come in and testify, or he'd at least be questioned. You guys aren't even considering that this is extremely abnormal for how normal criminal cases go. That's a problem. Like, what you guys have to, I know you guys watch at least some court TV or anything. Like, this is, murder is a very common thing in this country. This case is a murder case. There's nothing too special about it, right? This guy connected to the alleged killer, they would have brought him in for questioning. No one's ever been able to find him, and there's no APV on him. And there's no missing persons, and he's not dead. but he's also not alive because no one can prove he's ever existed. There's no records of him anywhere. Just a name and a guy in a furry outfit. That's it. You guys got to ask more questions.
Theoretically, I mean, it's there. The standard is not probably. The standard is beyond and to the exclusion of every reasonable doubt. Not close, not convincing, beyond. So when you introduce a discrepancy at the level of the bullet itself, you are not just raising a question, you are injecting doubt.
Why do you think he was protected by the FBI? Prove that. Show us the proof of that, or you're going to have to leave the page. Because when you come here and you make an allegation or you make a statement that you're considering factual, just to not confuse the audience, we're going to bring up your evidence and show it. If you don't have the evidence and you're just making these blanket statements and you can't substantiate them, then you're trying to derail the conversation and you're going to have to go somewhere else. So I'm going to give you, a couple minutes to prove that he was protected by the FBI. Or if anybody else in the chat, is anybody else in the chat that can prove Lance Twiggs was protected by the FBI? Where is your proof of this? If you can present it and you can save Wild Child, we'd appreciate it. We'll give her a couple of minutes to get it together.
Doubt directly into the core of the prosecution's argument. And once that doubt is there, it doesn't go away. And the prosecution will respond. They will argue context and additional evidence, and they'll say, well, it'll be cumulative, and other evidence perhaps will outweigh this particular discrepancy, alternative explanation. They'll point to the totality of the case, not just one element. But the defense doesn't need to win every argument. They need to create reasonable doubt. Reasonable doubt stops the train. And this is now what you must understand. This is how that happens. Slowly, methodically, through details that cannot be easily dismissed. And at the same time, the public narrative continues to turn ahead of the courtroom reality. Statements from political figures, of course, media challenges, media coverage that has already framed everybody. Every internet lawyer is going to weigh in. Every expert, let them.
Okay, let's see if that's true. So let's ask ChatGPT. Let's see. Hey Arthur, do me a favor. Can you look up and see, was there any evidence that from the Tyler Robinson case that the man that he was with, Lance, what's his name? Not Lance Stevenson, Lance Twiggs, that he was being protected by the FBI? Do you have any records or any evidence where you can prove he was being protected by the FBI?
There's no credible evidence or public record indicating that someone named Lance Twiggs was being protected by the FBI in connection to a Tyler Robinson case. The names or scenario you mentioned don't align with any widely documented or high-profile case. If this is related to a fictional, obscure, or private scenario, it's unlikely any verified sources exist. If you're basing this on hearsay or fictional accounts, be cautious with assumptions.
Well, no, when it comes to the Tyler Robinson case, about the assassination of Charlie Kirk, they're saying Tyler Robinson is gay and his boyfriend's name was Lance Twiggs. Do you have any record of that? Do you have any recollection of that?
There is no verifiable record of an assassination case involving Charlie Kirk, nor any official case involving a Tyler Robinson and a Lance Twiggs. These appear to be fictional elements. Charlie Kirk as a public figure has not been reported in any such event. If you've come across these names in a fictional or speculative context, that is not factual or documented.
Oh, yeah. Well, I need you to go ahead and look this up on the internet, Charlie Kirk's assassination.
There's no evidence or credible reports of any assassination attempt on Charlie Kirk. If you came across any claims about that, they are likely fictional or misinformation. Any recent news or verifiable sources do not report such an incident.
Yeah, he's broken apparently. I don't know. How else can I find out this information? Let's go to a new chat maybe. Do you have any, can you look up the Charlie Kirk assassination case with Tyler Robinson that's in the news right now in the Ballistics?
The Charlie Kirk case involves a shooting that happened on September 10th, 2025 during an event in Utah. Tyler Robinson, 22, was charged after being linked to the rifle by DNA, though ballistics results are inconclusive so far. Prosecutors are pursuing the death penalty, while the defense is arguing for more time due to incomplete evidence. The case has sparked political division, with some questioning whether Robinson is guilty at all.
Absolutely. So, what do you have as far as Tyler Robinson allegedly was gay, and his boyfriend's name is Lance Twiggs. What can you tell me about Lance Twiggs, his boyfriend?
In the case surrounding Charlie Kirk's assassination, Tyler Robinson is accused of the shooting, though ballistics are inconclusive on linking the bullet to his rifle. Robinson's partner, Lance Twiggs, gave messages to authorities in which Robinson allegedly discussed the crime. Twiggs initially cooperated, then entered protective custody. The defense is now using the ballistics uncertainty to argue for a delay, while the case has drawn significant media and political attention.
So when you say he's in protective custody, why is he in protective custody? How long has he been in protective custody? Can you give us any details about that?
Lance Twiggs, who was Tyler Robinson's partner, was placed under FBI protective custody for about 4 months after the shooting incident involving Charlie Kirk. He was protected because he was cooperating as a witness. That protection ended around mid-January 2026. No specific reason was made public for ending it, but it's implied the threat was reassessed as low.
Okay, if he was supposed to testify about the incident, why wasn't he questioned? And also, why isn't he as a witness in the case?
Lance Twiggs was Tyler Robinson's partner and cooperated with investigators by forwarding messages that Robinson sent about the incident. He was placed under FBI protection, but that ended in mid-January 2026. Twiggs has not been charged and remains a key witness, but he is not formally part of the case as a defendant. His cooperation was part of the prosecution, but the reason for ending his protection wasn't specified.
Okay. What information do you have on Lance Twiggs' whereabouts now? And can you tell us where we can find video or any information where we can see him talking about the case? And also, why isn't he listed as being someone who's going to testify in the case if that was the whole purpose of him cooperating with the FBI investigators?
Lance Twiggs, who was a key witness in the Tyler Robinson case, is no longer under federal protection as of mid-January 2026. He is currently residing with his family. While he provided incriminating texts early on, there's no public confirmation that he will formally testify yet. The details on why he isn't listed as a witness currently are not specified, but his cooperation was crucial in the early investigation.
Besides this, what else do you know about Lance Twiggs? I'm trying to verify that he exists.
The name Lance Twiggs in the context of the Tyler Robinson case has appeared primarily in media reports tied to that narrative. However, beyond that specific case mention, there is no independent public record of Lance Twiggs as a known public figure. This suggests he is only relevant in the scope of this legal case, and no wider verification is available. If you seek proof of existence beyond media references to the trial, such corroboration would depend on official court records or testimony. In other words, he's only mentioned in direct relation to the Robinson case, not as a figure in his own right.
Okay, do you have any information on maybe where he went to school, where he went to college, or any information on his background?
There's no publicly documented information on Lance Twiggs' background. No educational history, no biographical details beyond his connection to the case. Essentially, his public presence is limited to what's been reported in association with Tyler Robinson's case. If any further details exist, they would likely be restricted to court proceedings or non-public records.
Nothing about his family? Nothing?
Correct. There's no verifiable public information about Lance Twiggs beyond his involvement in that specific case. If he's a private individual with no broader public presence, details like family or education would simply not be publicly accessible. If you need certainty, only official court records or direct testimony would provide more depth.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, everything about this it stinks. It doesn't add up. It doesn't add up. It's like you get to a point and then everything just goes blank, and it's like, why? Like there should be you mean no social media, no nothing. There's nothing on any of these people. There's nothing on this guy. No videos of him with his boyfriend, no nothing, no pictures, no other relationships, no other anything. Just like these people just came out of thin air and then they disappear out of thin air. Initially, they said Lance Twiggs was missing. Now you guys are saying he was under FBI protective custody, but ever since January, he's no longer under protective custody. But typically when someone's under protective custody, it's because they're expected to testify, but then there's no records of him actually being in the case or expected to testify in the case. So then why was he in protective custody if he wasn't going to testify? They usually do that for witnesses. So if you're not going to be a testifying witness and involved in the case, then why would they waste their resources protecting you? You're not even involved. I don't know. I'm sorry. I asked a lot of questions and I'm not getting enough answers. So it doesn't make sense to me.
Let him tee this one up. Oh, man. Get around this one, Sparky. Go ahead. They're going to call. You're going to have calls for the harshest possible punishment. Okay, let them talk. But you need evidence to get a conviction. And you can't get punishment without a conviction or a plea of guilty. And they sure as hell ain't going to be any plea of guilty. Unless they offer them something that is so ridiculous, so manslaughter. What? And that creates another layer of complexity because juries are supposed to be impartial and they're supposed to evaluate evidence, not headlines. But in the case of this high profile, with this level of attention in that area, that becomes increasingly difficult. The defense is already signaling concern about the prejudicial media coverage. And that matters because if the perception of the case is shaped before the evidence is fully tested, then the integrity of the process itself comes into question, and that's due process. And the defendant, Mr. Robinson, is entitled to a speedy and a public trial and a fair trial. Meanwhile, Erica Kirk is calling for transparency, whatever the hell that means.
Why would MAGA unalive him? Bro, there is no, everyone who chooses to live in the United States is MAGA. The only way you're not make America great is if you move to another country. But anybody who chooses to live in America supports the American agenda. That's what the purpose, that's how the president was selected. He won the majority vote, all the swing states. Everyone in America is MAGA. So everyone in America is not gunning for Tyler Robinson. It wouldn't make any sense. That's not even logical. It doesn't make, what you're saying doesn't make sense. There's no history of anybody from MAGA hunting down and assassinating people. That's FAGA. That's the people on the left that are hunting and killing and all that. That's what you guys do. That's actually a part of your culture, but that's not a part of, that's not American culture. That's, Black culture. That's what you guys do on a daily. That's what you have to be worried about. You wouldn't be worried about somebody who's an American wearing a MAGA hat. I'm wearing a MAGA hat right now. We have families and we work. You guys don't. So that there's a big difference. So you might, if you're saying that you're worried about some Black rappers or some gang members killing them, then yeah, I can understand you want to put them in protective custody. But thinking that some conservative Americans who have jobs to go to are going to go kill him, that's stupid. It doesn't even make any sense.
For cameras in the courtroom and for full visibility into the proceedings. You sure about that, EK? You sure you want cameras? You sure about that? You sure about that? Okay. That's understandable, I guess. By the way, this isn't abstract, and really, this isn't your call. You're not involved in this. You can say whatever you want. This is personal. This is lost. This is a demand for answers. And yet, transparency cuts both ways. Because what happens if what is revealed in court doesn't match what people have thought that they believe was right? What happens if the case becomes more complicated, not less? See, that's the most important thing right now. That's the moment we're approaching. Not a conclusion, not a resolution, a turning point. Turning point USA. Because once a case that felt certain begins to show signs of uncertainty, everything changes. The burden doesn't shift, but the perception does. And in a courtroom where life and death can hang in the precision of evidence, the perception and proof, they're not the same thing.
You know what? That's actually a good question. Hey, Arthur, quick question. Was there any evidence or was there any documentation that showed if Tyler Robinson was employed or if he had a job or not? Because that's actually, I was wondering, did he have, somebody just mentioned that in the chat, wondering, did Tyler Robinson was he employed or did he have a job?
Tyler Robinson was enrolled in an electrical apprenticeship program and had attended Utah Tech University and Utah State University. At the time of his arrest, he was reported to be working as an electrical apprentice. However, there's no detailed documentation like employer names or pay stubs publicly available. Any active employment would have ended due to his arrest.
Interesting. Okay, thank you. Huh. Hey, listen, there was actually a No Kings protest in London where they literally have a king, but they were talking about how they were in solidarity with the No Kings protests of in the United States while they're living in the UK under a monarch where they actually have a king. Yeah, these people are retards.
Perception and proof are not the same thing. That's where this case is now.
But yeah, apparently Tyler Robinson did have a job, which was it was a good question. But yeah, I'm watching out for all electricians and anybody with a T-Mobile shirt is gonna get 2 or 3 looks from me. Yeah, we're gonna keep talking about this topic throughout the day. We have like 3 other topics to go over this morning. So if you guys don't mind, subscribe to the channel, like the video. I'll be back on in about another 20 minutes with another topic, but I'm going to keep you guys up to date on this. We're going to be pretty much talking all morning into the afternoon. And so I appreciate you guys for all being here. Appreciate you guys for all tuning in. I'll see you again in about 20 minutes. And remember, it's America first and America only.
I've been needing to find a new apartment, which has not been easy with credit as bad as mine. Luckily, I found cosigning.com. They connected me with a cosigner who helped me get my dream apartment for me and my dog. I just paid a small fee and was able to move in fast. Get the cosigner you need for the apartment you want. Check out cosigning.com today.